Let's take a look at the 320 handheld. There are two antennas on the top of the 320 handheld. You have first your GPS antenna that receives signals from the satellite so that you know your location. Then you have your RF antenna. This is picking up the signal that's coming from the dog's transmitter that's bringing in the dog's location. You have your glass screen. Then you have your control buttons. Several things here. You have your in and out button, which are for moving around on the map. You have your arrow controls, which are moving on the map, also moving between menu screens. And then you have your map button, your menu button, your enter button, your back button, your mark button, and your dog button. The dog button and the map button allow you to move back and forth between the two major screens for dog tracking, which is the compass screen or the map screen. On the side of the unit, you have your power button, which allows you to turn the unit on and off. It also takes you to a quick screen, which references your GPS signal, shows you how much battery life your handheld has, and it gives you quick access to your backlight for the screen image. On the back of the unit, you have your port. The port is used for either running it from a vehicle with a power adapter or for downloading and uploading information, updating software, and downloading map tracks to your computer. You have your backbone, which this is designed to work with a number of Garmin accessories for carrying the unit. You have your battery compartment. Underneath the batteries is a slot for a micro SD card, which you can use for maps. And then on the bottom of the unit, you have a lanyard attachment so that you can tie the unit to you and keep up with it in the field. There are two main screens for viewing your dog. There's the map screen and then the compass screen. The compass screen gives you a compass view, and then it will have a line that shows the direction that your dog is from you. It'll have the dog's name and the distance so that you can look down on the map and see that your dog is in front of you. Let's say that direction is north and he's 150 yards. This allows you to keep up with multiple dogs from this screen. You can see up to 3 dogs from the compass screen at a time. And it's an easy way to keep up with multiple dogs and know where they are in relation to where you are. And then you press the map button to go to your map screen. The map screen shows your location on the map. You are a triangle in the lower middle section of the map. And then it shows all of your dogs and where they are running. The map's very customizable. It allows you to see the trail so that you can see where the dog has been. It allows you to see anything that's on the map. The basic map that comes with the system is it's pretty basic. It shows major highways and it shows city locations, but you have the option of upgrading to either topo maps or satellite image maps, and so that you can know exactly where everything is. And these are the two main screens that you use to keep up with your dogs. The Astro 320 can track up to 10 dogs at one time. The system's designed where it's expandable, so you can buy a 1-dog system and you can add extra T5 collars when you need them. You can track multiple dogs at the same time. You can see multiple dogs on the map screen and multiple dogs on the compass screen at the same time, and then you can also move back and forth between dogs. You also have the option of matching the colors to the collar straps. We sell a multi-dog system. It comes with different collar strap colors, so that way you can match everything up so you can look down and see who is who and keep up with different dogs on the map screen. Allows you to track up to 10 dogs at one time. The Astro 320 is more than just a dog tracker. It's also a full-featured GPS. It keeps up with where you are in the woods. It'll get you back to your vehicle. You can mark locations of all sorts of things. Not only can you keep up with your truck, your ATV, tree stands, hunting camps, anything like that, you can mark those on your maps and then come back to them. It also has a covey feature where you can mark where the location is of individual coveys that you find in the field. You can also track up the number of birds taken from those coveys. You can keep up with trees that you find coons in. Anything that you need to mark on this system, you can do it and keep up with it. It'll handle up to about 10,000 different marking locations per system. Let's talk a little bit about maps. The Astro 320 comes with a base map that's very basic. It shows major highways and city locations, and that's about it. Now, to track a dog, you do not need maps. It's just not necessary to have that information when you're trying to track a dog. Without any sort of mapping software, you will still be able to see where your dog is in relationship to you. But there's some advantages to having just more detailed maps when you're looking for a dog. I find that my hound customers especially like the topo maps. The biggest advantage of a topo map is not only is it going to show roadways and it's going to show elevation, but it also shows waterways. And that can be a pretty big deal, especially if your dog's on the other side of a large waterway and you can't easily cross it. Or a situation where you know, okay, well, I can't cross it here. I've got to go 2 miles down here to be able to cross this waterway, but my dog's on that side, so we're going to go this way to pick him up. And that's a big deal. Topo maps are something that you can add to the system at any time. You can purchase them, we sell them, you can download them from Garmin, and you can add them to your unit at any point. So it's not something that you have to buy when you first buy the system. Another feature that you can add to it is what's called bird's eye. Bird's eye is satellite imagery, and it allows you to select a certain area and then download the satellite imagery for that area. Bird's eye can come in handy in certain parts of the world. It allows you to see things that topo maps aren't going to show. But I like to note that there are certain situations where you're better off to have a topo map than have a bird's eye, especially in parts of the southeast where there's a lot of tree canopy. So these are two mapping features that they go hand in hand really well. The way the 320 works, you get to select which image you see. So if you have both topo and bird's eye loaded in at the same time, you can move back and forth between the two, or you can cut off everything to declutter the map. Let's talk a little bit about range with the Garmin Astro 320. The range on this system is listed by the manufacturer at 9 miles. That's not very realistic, and I have never found a system that would get that kind of range. That's a line of sight listing, and what that means is there's nothing between you and the dog, and that's just not going to happen in a realistic hunting situation. You have several options for increasing your range. A lot depends on what's in between you and the dog. Typically, with the basic handheld and with the collar with the standard antenna attached to it, in a heavily wooded area, I can typically get up to about 1.5 miles. Some of that depends on terrain, but that's pretty standard for me. Getting 1 mile to 1.5 miles is very easy with the regular system, except in really, really, really hilly terrain. Now, there's some things that you can do to increase your range. The system comes with a standard antenna, and then it also comes with a long-range antenna. Your RF antenna unscrews from the handheld, and then you just attach the long-range antenna to it. And so this longer antenna gives you more range with a handheld. It's a flexible antenna, real tough. It's going to hold up pretty much anything you throw at it condition-wise. And so for a lot of folks with bigger running dogs, it's a great idea just to go straight to the long-range antenna and not even worry about the short antenna. For those of you that have a really big running dogs and you're working out of a vehicle, I recommend you take a look at the car top antennas. Basically, this is a longer magnetic mount antenna that also attaches into your handheld. It's designed to go on the roof of your truck. And this is a longer antenna. It's going to drastically increase your range. The best I've ever been able to get is about 6 miles using the longest range car top antenna that we have. And that was in ideal situations. Now, the thing to point out is that probably my favorite feature of the Garmin is that when it loses the signal of the dog, it marks the location that it last had on the dog. So you're going to know where that dog was when you lose the signal. And what I'm doing when I'm looking for a dog that's lost or a dog that's running really big and I lose that signal, I'm going to immediately go to that signal. And the majority of the time that that's happened for me, before I have gotten to the location, the system has reacquired the signal from the dog. That's a neat thing about the 320. It's constantly looking for that dog. You don't have to do anything. It's going to search for it and pick that signal up as soon as you get back into range. The 320 handheld works off of AA batteries. Simply open up the back compartment here, and there are your AA batteries. You have 3 options on AA batteries for the 320. You can use standard AA alkaline batteries. They're cheap and easy to find. Then you have the option of AA lithium batteries. Lithium batteries are more expensive, but they're going to last substantially longer than an alkaline battery. Kind of works itself out. The increase in price, you get about the same amount of time. So the difference between the two, it just keeps you from having to change batteries constantly. Or then you can take the route that I typically use, and that's a rechargeable AA. What I always did was I would get rechargeable AA's. I'd have 2 sets, put one on the charger, one in the handheld. Next day, switch them out. Put the ones in the handheld on the charger, put the ones on the charger back in the handheld. And this way I've always got batteries. Rechargeable batteries are a little more expensive, but over time it works itself out. So if you're running a lot and you want to use something over and over and over again, rechargeable batteries are a good way to go. Now, you can move back and forth between any of these 3 options no matter what. It's pretty simple. You can run lithiums and then switch over to rechargeables and then switch over to alkalines. But there's a setting in the menu option that where you need to tell the unit which kind of batteries you're running. The reason for that is it allows the battery meter on the handheld to understand how much power it has and to be able to read the batteries accurately and give you a good indication of how much life you have left in your handheld. The other option with a handheld when you're running out of a vehicle is that you can power it from your USB plug-in. But keep in mind that all this does is run the unit. It does not recharge your batteries.